All right, what is mindfulness? Let's talk about it just for 5 minutes. Do you think you can learn everything you need to know about mindfulness in just 5 minutes? No, of course not. However, we can start by defining the word in hopes that it helps all of us become a little more mindful in our everyday life. Any definition of mindfulness is not a complete understanding of what mindfulness is, because mindfulness is really a practice, and it's sort of a way of being. It's like a way of interacting with your own life. And so words and concepts and language are certainly helpful, but they're more just signposts towards what mindfulness is. They're concepts or ideas, but in order to really understand what mindfulness is, you need to go beyond the words and concepts and into the practice portion of it. So I would encourage you to do that. So here's my definition of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of giving your complete attention to the present moment with curiosity and non-judgment. So let's break that down just a little bit.
Break it down now.
It's a practice. You don't just arrive at being mindful. You're not just, oh, I'm mindful, one and done, and great, never have to think about that again. It's not that. It's not something you achieve. It's something you do. It's a way of approaching life, okay? So it's the practice of giving your complete attention. So let's talk about attention for a second. The thing that every marketer and social media expert is trying to get yours, your attention. I like to look at attention as sort of like a red laser pointer, you know, the little dot that the cat wants to get, right? So wherever we're putting that dot, that is where our attention is going. Now, it's different than just our 5 senses. Our eyes could be looking straight ahead, and that dot could be looking straight ahead, but then it could go up to maybe our thoughts and putting our attention on some problem that we're solving or some worry that we have, even though our eyes are looking straight ahead. And so our attention is different than just our senses. And so mindfulness is when we take our attention and we put it on the present moment. So I have a whole nother video on just the present moment. We're going to get way more into that. But for now, I'll say this about the present moment. The present moment is, of course, all that there ever is. It's all we have. It's our only interaction with this thing we call life. The future is, of course, an idea in our minds. It's a concept. It's a thought. We have no access to that. And when the future finally comes to us, we experience it in the present moment. The past already happened, is already gone. We have no access to anymore. When we remember or think about the past, we remember it in the present moment right here. This present moment, this is the only interaction we have with life. As you watch this video on your phone or computer, you are in the present moment right there as I am recording this. So it's giving your complete attention to the present moment with curiosity and non-judgment. And these are really important too, because curiosity assumes a certain level of openness that you bring to the present moment. When you lose that curiosity, you're no longer looking for what you can learn. You have assumptions, you know how things are going to go, you have facts about the things you're seeing, and you lose the opportunity to be delighted and surprised and with the present moment, with reality, because you're in your head, you're lost in concepts and ideas. And when you practice non-judgment, you are not deciding how things need to go beforehand in your mind, and you hope that reality or real life somehow matches up with the thoughts in your mind on how things have to go for me to be happy, right? I absolutely love talking about this stuff, and there's so much more that I want to say, but we're going to end the video here. So a quick recap. Mindfulness is the practice of giving your complete attention to the present moment with curiosity and non-judgment. And I would love to encourage you to practice this, to try it out today. Not in 3 weeks, not next month when you have some time. Today, what would it look like for you to take 1 or 3 minutes to go in your living room or your backyard and just say, I am going to be as mindful as I possibly can. I'm going to give my complete attention to whatever's in front of me and see what happens. Tell me about it in the comments. I'd be totally curious to hear your experience. And please consider subscribing to this channel for algorithms and etc. That would help me tremendously. I'm Eric Niequist, and I love you. I shouldn't end it like that. That's ridiculous.